Welcome back to the Dirty Truth. I'm Benjamin Harris, and we're going to continue with, as Worldviews Collide, video number 7, how Hollywood and music help normalize sin, in a series of videos debunking the God delusion by Richard Dawkins. To recap the first 6 videos, science proves the biblical creation account is correct and evolution is false, and has now been proven with 6 separate lines of evidence, those being the start of the universe, origin of life, fossils, DNA, the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus of Nazareth, and the biblical account of King Nebuchadnezzar, who lived before Jesus but claimed to have seen him. All of this so far is from ancient times. So let us now look at more recent things that are happening in our lifetime. Let's jump in. Another telling way we can deduce the Christian Bible and belief is likely the correct view, and is in the way that it is attacked when compared to other religions. Christianity is set apart from Judaism and Islam only by Jesus, insofar as all three have the same God. Islam does not think Jesus died on the cross. They think that we were deceived and it was someone else that died. And the Jews, well, they crucified Jesus. The Jews do think that there will be a Messiah like Jesus. He just hasn't shown up yet. The point here is that there can only be one that is correct, and if the Bible is right and that Satan rules the world, then he would attack the one that is true, because the ones that are false are already working in his favor. A great example of this is Ben Shapiro was conducting an interview where he asked the interviewee one time, saying something like, I believe in God and I follow the 10 Commandments, and because I'm Jewish, I also follow like 500 and something other laws in the Torah. So are you saying that I will go to hell when I die? And so the short, blunt answer to this is because no matter what good you think you have done, all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. No man comes to the Father except through the Son. So you can follow all the laws you want in the Torah, but if you don't believe in the Son and have been forgiven of your sins, then you will have chosen separation from God, and that is hell. So yes, you still go to hell. Case in point in the God delusion, as Dawkins makes very clear, he is talking about the God of the Old Testament. So he leaves out Jesus. But Jesus in the New Testament is part of the Trinity, and therefore the same God of the Old Testament, and he says as much. What he fails to understand is Jesus also is in the Old Testament, is evident in the book of Daniel, because the 4th person Nebuchadnezzar saw in the fire is described as the Son of God. Daniel 3, chapter 3, verse 24 and 25. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was atoned, and rose up in haste, and spake, and said unto his counselors, Did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said to the king, True, O king. He answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. So in all accounts here, it is only Jesus that is being attacked, because it is only through him that we can have salvation and gain the glory of heaven. Hollywood even shows this in movies, or shows this truth in movies like the movie Nefarious, where they tell the truth but pass it off as a horror film. In this movie about a man possessed by a demon, the demon is trying to undo the work of Jesus on the cross. The demon even admits the worst thing that they did, and the they there is Satan and the demons, was to have the carpenter, which is Jesus, crucified. The demon goes on to say how they have made sin acceptable over time, and all the while doing it right to our faces. He even compares abortion of today to the child sacrifice to the god Moloch in ancient times, saying that when they burned the babies, the people would play their drums very loud so no one could hear the baby scream. And now they just kill the babies in the womb where nobody can hear the baby scream. The demon is describing all this to a man in the movie that's a professed atheist, and at the very moment his girlfriend is having an abortion, and that is how the demon. He explains that that's how the demons hurt the carpenter, which is Jesus, by killing the babies, by killing the innocent. The things described by this demon in the movie make tactical sense if there was a spiritual warfare between God and the devil, because it explains how over time the demons have turned sin into normal everyday life acceptable by all. Another movie that does this to some extent is The Pope's Exorcist, because the character Russell Crowe plays, Father Gabriel Amorth, was a real person that was also assigned to perform exorcisms by the Catholic Church. This story is about a possessed boy from one of the 200 fallen angels in the Bible. Again, there is truth mixed with lies to make the lies more believable, because if the Bible is not true, then the movie doesn't make any sense at all. The story is twisted to make for a more dramatic effect, but the basis of the story is true insofar as Father Gabriel was real according to the Bible. 200 angels did fall from heaven, and people can be possessed by demons. The series Lucifer takes the cake, however. This is a TV series that makes the devil out to be good just because he's an angel. The storyline is set up to be lessons Lucifer must learn, because in the end, his dad, aka God, really wanted him to take over the family business, run heaven. This is precisely what got him kicked out to start with, because he wanted to be like God and worship. Then in the end, he wins heaven because he is voted in by other angels, and I think he turns it down so he can be some form of therapist that helps people understand how to get themselves out of hell. The whole series has a bunch of angels. It's got God in it. It says that God has a wife and she's in it, but it never mentions Jesus. Funny how it never mentions Jesus, because it is supposed to be an account of how God is training Lucifer to take over heaven, when in reality Jesus is God, and Jesus is worshipped like God. So Lucifer wants to be worshipped like God. It is movies and shows like this that the demon Nefarious is talking about when he says, "We did it right to your face," because they help normalize sin, and they take Jesus out of the picture. In doing so, things like atheism are made more easily acceptable. The funniest thing about it all is the demons are not atheists. They know God is real, and they cower in his presence. The best example of this is when Jesus drove the demons out of the two men and put them in the pigs, and then the pigs went crazy and drowned themselves by running into the sea. When Jesus approached the possessed men, the demons didn't require Jesus to explain who he was. They immediately know who he was from looking at him. Matthew chapter 8, verse 28 through 29. And when he was come to the other side into the country of the Gergesens, there met him two possessed with devils, coming out of the tombs, exceeding fierce, so that no man might pass by that way. And behold, they cried out, saying, "What have we to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of God? Art thou come hither to torment us before the time?" This is also what the demon says in the movie Nefarious, when the priest enters the room. But then as the demon talks to the priest, he realizes the priest doesn't understand the Bible, and so that he could manipulate the priest, so he's not scared of him anymore. Hollywood has done a very good job normalizing sex, homosexuality, false gods, and the desire to be rich in movies and cartoons, so that the message can reach all ages. For example, lust as a sin is not just an act of sex according to the Bible. It is looking at another with lustful thoughts and a lustful heart. Most of the roles played in movies by both men and women are based around the character's desirability and attractiveness. This is very evident when only comparing different movie genres and how the cast dressed and what is accepted in society. The farther back in time we go, the more covered up both men and women are, whereas in the days of nude, it's difficult to find a movie without a nude scene in it. Sometimes it's very subtle and fast, like in the 2021 movie, Suicide Squad. There's a scene in this movie that is based on a comic book where there's a nude man that is killed. There's no need for the man to be nude, but it flashes his full genitalia while he is being killed for no apparent reason other than to show a man's genitals for a few seconds. Another character in that movie, for no reason at all, is in his underwear in a scene following a beach invasion. Now let me speak from experience here. In all my time in the military, in 3 deployments, I never stripped down to just my underwear following an invasion that required me to sleep where the invasion took place. However, once you begin to understand the real meaning behind scenes like this, to normalize sexual appeal and increase lustful thoughts, it sheds a different light on TV programming. This is what the demon in the movie Nefarious was talking about. The music industry also performs acts like this and has been doing so in much more offensive ways for much longer than Hollywood. I say it is much more offensive because not only do they make music videos with lewd acts in them, the acts are turned into songs for all to sing along to. A prime example of this is from the beginning of MTV. Would be none other than the Queen of Pop, Madonna, with Like a Virgin, Like a Prayer, Vogue, and Express Yourself. These songs, while not explicit in word, have sexual overtone because in the videos it shows like sexual acts and like a prayer. Those are done at a church. So this is lust as described in the Bible. One of the easiest sins, in my opinion, to fall accustomed to. By having these videos played over and over on TV, the acts become more acceptable in society. Madonna wasn't the only one doing it, or even the worst one out there. She's just known as the Queen of Pop because of it, because of how she dressed in those videos. Poison's song Unskinny Bop, for example, moves from sexual overtones to sexual innuendos with the lyrics because the video isn't necessarily sexually explicit. Wart's song Cherry Pie adds a skimpily dressed woman to show exactly what the meaning of cherry pie is, and Motley Crue's song Girls, Girls, Girls is a video filmed in a strip club. These are all examples of what the demon Nefarious is talking about when he says, "We did it right to your face." So it's so subtle that the change is so subtle you don't even know what's happening, and then it's just acceptable. This gives rise to gradually increasing the explicit acts and lyrics until you get to artists like Sam Smith, Lil Nas X, and Lil Uzi Vert. Lil Uzi Vert, which by the way can be pronounced Lucifer. Lil Nas X does a video in his song Montero, where at the end of the video he gives the devil a lap dance, then breaks his neck and becomes the devil. Lil Nas X also promoted the Satan shoe, containing a single drop of blood and sold for $1,018 a pair, and that sold out in 1 hour. I don't know how many pairs it was, but however many he had sold out in 1 hour. Nike sued a Brooklyn company over this, and the shoes were recalled. So how can we top that? Sam Smith, 2023 Grammy performance. Sam Smith was introduced at the 2023 Grammys by none other than the Queen of Pop herself, Madonna, where he performed the song Unholy with Kim Petras. This was like a satanic ritual with all the 2023 Grammy, with the whole audience at the Grammys in attendance. Even better still, Lil Uzi Vert, while performing on stage at a concert, he tells his fans they have entered the rapture and nobody is flying up to heaven, so now obviously they are all going to hell, right with him. While on stage, he says, and I quote, "You are already," and this speaks to what the demon was talking about. He says, and I quote, "You are already here and you cannot get out. It's over because you heard the songs 1,000,000 times and you didn't even know." So, like I said, this is right to your face and you didn't even know, just as the demon in the movie Nefarious describes it. So is it just coincidence that Hollywood and the music industry are now openly worshiping Satan while Jesus is debated against so strongly on the world stage. When you step back and look at the big picture, it all points to Jesus, exactly like the creation of the universe and origin of life research does. This is also an example of how God can bring good from bad, because these actions are towards God and Jesus, or better put, they aid in spreading the name of God and Jesus. So at the judgment, when every knee will bow and every tongue will confess, no one can deny that they knew. This topic is everywhere you turn, from politics and schools to TV and music, and all over the world stage, where people are being beheaded and imprisoned just because of their belief in Jesus. All the while, behind the scenes of these events that must come to pass, according to the book of Revelations, all the while, behind the scenes of these events, the events that must come to pass, according to the book of Revelations, before the rapture can happen, are coming true. But Hollywood and the music industry create people that are worshipped. Sports plays a role in this as well, but not on the same level. Musicians and actors that are very famous can get mauled by fans everywhere they go, which can make for a terrible lifestyle. Hollywood goes a step farther with characters like Superman, Wonder Woman, and Thor from the days of old TV being portrayed as gods. The new gods of TV are characters like Black Adam, Shazam, Vision, Maui, Hulk, Loki, Aquaman, Black Panther, and Captain America. This is Hollywood giving actual people that can be worshipped, as well as fictional characters played by the already worshipped people. So one of Hollywood's biggest stars, which is an example of this, is Dwayne Johnson. So Dwayne Johnson is already this mega superstar, and now he's playing two characters that are like gods. He plays both Maui, which is a fictional god, in a cartoon where he's just a voiceover, and Black Adam. And Black Adam seems to be the one that will challenge the other gods of TV, right? In following movies. This is the equivalent of the Greek ancient gods like Zeus, Ra, Poseidon, Hera, Demetri, Aphrodite, Apollo, and Ares, just to name a few. There are new false gods. These are the new false gods of the Western world. So how does Hollywood get away with putting these ideas in the minds of children and adults? While the music industry helps normalize sin, Hollywood gives hope that science one day could figure out how to turn humans into gods. For example, Black Adam, you got a group of wizards that turn this slave worker into this god, right? That's how the whole thing works. So we're looking at science to see if science can actually turn us into gods. They start this indoctrination with half-truths and flat-out lies, with shows like Life on Our Planet. This show is narrated by Morgan Freeman, who has a wonderful voice to listen to, and he's played the role of God in Bruce Almighty, who is explaining the basic understanding of evolution starting from Luca, as discussed in video number 3. This show would have you believe that this is based on scientific proof, but the reality of it is there is exactly zero evidence of this. So Hollywood made a movie that backs up what the atheists are trying to say, that backs up the narrative that's not proven at all. So when a naturalist is being debated on this subject and says that it's not taught in schools, I would argue that not only is this taught in schools, it's backed up through movies and shows like this to strengthen the argument. This is precisely the argument Richard would give, starting with Luca. Everything evolved. The problem is no one ever has shown how Luca got started, and this is the foundation of their argument. This is where I, a Christian God creationist, would agree with Aaron Ra, who is an atheist, when he quotes Abraham Lincoln, where Abraham Lincoln says, I believe it is an established maxim in morals that he who makes an assertion without knowing whether it is true or false is guilty of falsehood, and the accidental truth for the assertion does not justify or excuse him. Because if your foundation is a fairy tale or based on a fairy tale, then what does that say about the rest of your argument? So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like and subscribe and follow along as we continue with video number 8, where we will continue this thought as we discuss false teachings, preachings, and confusion, and how it is used to strengthen the Hollywood and music views, which aids in people turning to atheism. So leave some comments. If you disagree with anything I said, comment. If you agree, comment. All comments are welcome. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. May God bless you all, and see you next time.